Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to another episode and a really special episode of Winning Picks Weekly. As always, John Malika here with our video producer from Knicks, Jets, etc. Co-host here, Greg Albert. What up, Greg?
What's going on?
And then we have our newest and honestly, the newest daily better, right? We got Greg on the daily baseball, but we got Chip on the daily lines here. What up, Chip Murphy 7? What up, Chip?
What's up, John? How you doing, man?
Good, dude. Good. And I mean, this is the holiday. This is what I've learned all of my years knowing Greg. Like the NFL draft is the number one holiday. The NBA draft only 2 rounds. Still counts as a holiday. And we're finally here. I can't wait to get the early morning text from Greg on draft day by Drake. I can't wait to get it. I'm going to be hyped. And honestly, we have the perfect guest for this episode. He came on to Knicks, Jets, etc. for a Knicks draft episode. Definitely check that out. It was you have checked it out if you're listening right now. It was really good. You know him, Kris Pursiainen, draft class, Knicks film school. He has been absolutely killing it. He is all over the lines. He's been following Chip. Anything that Chip goes on and on about any first round, any first pick, third pick, Knicks pick, anything that's moving around. Kris is on it. Chip is on it. Greg is on it. And honestly, I'm excited to hear Greg's NBA draft takes. I know he's all over the NFL. He's a little more, laid back when it comes to the NBA draft. So we have a really nice panel today. I'm really hyped. But first, Kris, what up, man? How you doing?
What's up, guys? Awesome to be here. Excited. A little nervous, especially with some of the rumors that have been flying around, the rumors I'm getting in my texts that are making me extra nervous, like just not fun. I'm like at work on my phone being like, yeah, guys, good stuff on the defense. Oh my God, plus 350. Like, it's like not good. Man.
How many players can get traded within 48 hours in the NBA? Every single pick has been traded. Every single player has been drafted to mostly the Knicks, but I mean, at least I've flown around. I think Brogdon has played on damn near every single team so far in the last 48 hours. I mean,
Pacers front office is working really hard right now.
Brogdon and Turner, swear to God, those guys are. Brogdon will actually get traded, but Turner is going to be on the trade block as a Pacer for like the next 6 years. Like I just
that's a Carlisle special to keep your center on the trade block. That's a he loves to do that. That's like his type of running backs. But what's really important here, guys, and everyone's tuning in for the NBA draft special. It seems like the first 3 picks are kind of in stone. The draft odds, even as we started recording, have changed. Right now, it's looking like Jabari Smith at minus 300, Paolo at plus 290, which is crazy, right? He's over Chet. And Chet's, I have it at plus 375. Of course, depending on what book you're shopping, it's not even available in New York. It's around there. Let's start with you, Chet. I mean, we know you've been following these odds, so what's your take on these movements right here, and is it going to fall in that order?
I think Jabari's going to be the number 1 pick. I wouldn't bet against Jabari for sure.
Would you take the 300? Is that easy money, like just like quick money in the bank, or is that still risky?
No, I think it's quick money in the bank. I'd throw it in a parlay for sure. The last 8 number 1 overall picks have all been minus money. The last number 1 overall pick to be plus money was Anthony Bennett, which was one of the
deservedly so.
Yeah, which was one of the most bizarre, awful draft picks in the history of sports. So there's one thing like even like the most casual basketball fan knows, like we typically know who's going to go number 1 in the NBA draft. And since the beginning, even though Chet Holmgren seems like the kind of guy that this Orlando Magic front office would draft, it's been Jabari Smith since the beginning. So I'm trying not to let this whole Paolo movement at the end here throw me and make me think like, oh, maybe, Chet's odds are getting long. Maybe it's worth it throwing money on Chet. And, maybe there's something to this whole Paolo thing. Jabari's been the favorite the entire time. Yeah, and he still is the favorite. I'm not betting against Jabari going number 1.
That's fair. Kris?
The draft class, mock draft 1.0, had Paolo going number 1 to the Magic. Chip knows I like a lot of the Magic's young guys. I really like Wendell Carter Jr. Young draft analyst Kris, when I was like 16, had 2 takes that year. I had 2 takes in that draft. Take number 1, Luka's the number 1 player. Take number 2, I'm taking Wendell over Marvin from Duke. So
one of the most overshadowed Duke players in recent memory was Wendell Carter Jr.
He was the best prospect coming out of that school, and no one cared. I like Suggs. I think it's okay to say he was terrible in his rookie year. I think he'll be all right. I really like Markelle Fultz. I think he can. I don't know. I'm a sucker for rim pressure. No, it's not.
It's not a hot take.
Did you watch him last year? Did you see the extent to which he was pressuring the rim on a play-to-play basis at ease? I mean, this guy's getting really good. He's turned into now. It's taken longer than we expected. He's turned into a if he can shoot guy. If he can shoot, the rest is all there. He's going to be really good.
A lot of those guys in Orlando.
I know. So,
what up, Jonathan Isaac?
Add Jonathan Isaac, RJ Hampton to this equation, and Paolo is the cleanest, easiest choice at number 1. Add the go-to scorer to your lineup. You can go, Cole 6th man, Fultz, Suggs, Isaac, Paolo, Carter. Have Isaac at the Paolo and Isaac is going to be too big, but we just saw this work in Cleveland with enough offensive ability and enough defensive ability to kind of finagle their way through and be like, hey, this is positionless basketball, just not the way you guys are thinking. That's okay. I still think Paolo is who the number 1 pick should be. As in terms of will be, geez, man, Jabari is the ultimate save your job draft pick. Jabari is, hey, well, I took the kid with all the tools at number 1. Remember when Seattle passed on Kevin Durant? I wasn't going to make that mistake. And the team owner's like, oh, okay, I get you. That's it. Jabari is the ultimate job saver. I feel like in Orlando, he buys you time. Hey, how is he supposed to shine when the rest of our core can't shoot? We need time to get this team together.
The front office in Orlando just signed extensions. Both the GM and the Pobo just signed extensions too.
So they know they have time to work with. That for me would be Jabari or Chet. If you have time to work with, if you need to buy time, I would say just Jabari. But if you have time to work with, Jabari or Chet, and they OKC and Chet, I think that connection is way too strong. And because he lets them tank, right? He lets them add a potential number 1 pick at number 2, who they know will not be good, but they can justify playing a lot of minutes year 1. I mean, it will not be good year 1. Chet's number 1 on my board, so I think he'll be very good. But you guys get what I'm saying. I would bet Jabari. I would bet Jabari. I agree with Chip, but I would have bet Jabari yesterday when he was minus 170. I think that's a time where you throw a 1 unit play, if your units are 100, right? Like 170 to profit 100 and just call it. Right now, last I saw it was minus 275. Last you saw it was minus 300. I am not going to sit here and tell people, hey, well, actually, nothing I'm saying is gambling advice, disclaimer, but I'm not going to sit here and tell people that they should bet $300 to profit a third of that amount if this guy goes number 1 overall.
You're putting a lot of faith in the Orlando Magic front office if you do that. So I don't blame you if you don't want to do that. I like
those though sometimes, just like it's free money. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they have like on DraftKings like minus 20,000 for Golden State or Boston to score a point.
Yeah, this is what
it's stupid.
What I would say. If you're like really confident in like Rory McIlroy to win the British Open or something.
Oh, okay.
Throw Jabari Smith in with Rory McIlroy to win the British Open or something like that. Or if you want to like double down on like the Yankees and the Mets to win the American and National League. That's what I was thinking about doing. Throwing Jabari in there. throwing Jabari in.
I like this as a parlay leg.
But Jabari, you're not going to win any money just betting on him.
Exactly. I think suggesting this as a straight bet is literally clinically insane. So if I had to give an official suggestion, I'd say, man, go ahead and put that in a parlay with two different. If you really like Jabari to go one, pick two different like money lines or something of a baseball game that day. Parlay with that, and then take a quarter of a unit and throw it on Boncaro for the culture, just in case, just a quarter of a unit, nothing crazy.
Greg, what's your move here?
Yeah, I mean, we got Kris on here to talk X's and O's, be our draft expert, and I love that he broke down Orlando's roster and kind of what they're looking at, because I come in to this situation as a much more casual fan of both the NBA, college basketball. I think I watched a little bit more than the average person, but during the NCAA tournament, man, Paolo was just taking over games. And when you needed a bucket, he was hitting it time after time after time. I was like, dude, this is what you need when you're a struggling franchise. I don't know the details and I don't know every single thing about Blanchero and all these other guys, but to me, he has the look and the feel of a number one overall pick. That combined with the line movement gives me big time like Aiden Hutchinson vibes and the NFL draft vibes from this year, where all of a sudden Trayvon Walker comes out of nowhere and Drill goes from plus 2,000 to the first overall pick in a matter of a week. I think Paolo just went from plus 1,300 to plus 300 in a day or two. So
are you going to sprinkle on him at first? Is that what we're talking right now?
I think so. I think, like, to Chris's point, quarter unit, half unit. Yeah, just $50 to win 150. I've done crazier things in my life. Orlando Magic front office. I don't know exactly what they're thinking half the time. So,
all right, how about this? How about this, Greg?
It's worth a shot.
I don't think they're thinking Paolo.
If you like that though, let me open your eyes to.
And this is what I love getting on talking about, because one, it's about shopping lines. You talked about it. And two, it's about looking at other ways to bet what you want. So I feel like that's where you're going with it. And I love that's something we harp, I feel like, week in and week out.
Hell yeah, because if you like Banchero and we're calling Jabari the easy pick, the front office pick, and so Orlando's probably just gonna play it safe. Banchero's plus 500 to go second. And we know that OKC is unconventional. I mean, the even more slightly above average NBA fan can't name their starting five. Can't even name five players in the whole squad, right? Like I remember when they tore up the Knicks, everyone's like, "Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Who's Josh Giddey?" I'm like, "Oh, the guy gets a triple double every night."
Yeah.
Like,
if you're playing fantasy basketball, you know exactly who that is. But yeah.
So do you, because of your love for Banchero, because of the whole panels, it feels like, maybe besides Chip, are we taking Paolo at plus 500 at 2, or is Chet minus 250 kind of locked in there? Because if you go Banchero plus 500 at 2, it's an easy parlay. It's a free parlay. But Chet at third is plus 525.
I'll give a piece about Chet real quick, because then I want Kris and Chip to talk more about it, because they're, I think, more plugged in with it. Chet, to me, I would not bet anything on him at minus money, especially if it's like minus 180 or higher, just because, to me, from an outside perspective, I love the guy. I've been watching high school, YouTube videos of him for years now. But at this point, there's so many red flags. You can paint him so many different ways that I think front offices might do that too. So I wouldn't take Chet at minus 200 something, minus 300 something, just because a front office can talk themselves out of him, I think, pretty easily.
I already took Chet plus 600 to be third on DraftKings.
Okay, so it's about the same.
Yeah.
That's worth the sprinkle.
Yeah.
I think Houston and Paolo are getting talked about a lot because they would really like him to fall to 3. I think there's also a world where Presti is like, you know what? Screw this. We can give Paolo the ball a lot and still stink year one. Shea and Paolo, let me get myself a defensive 5 project. Maybe he pulls it off and he's like, yeah, I'm just going to give all the picks in the world to trade up once we tank for Wemby, half tank for Wemby. I'm going to give up 8 firsts to trade up. Screw it. I'm just going to add Paolo because that's who I'm most comfortable with. I can see that. I just see Oklahoma City liking Chet more for the reasons I described before. But again, plus 600, like, golly, that's sprinkle worthy. That's 0.25 unit sprinkle worthy at plus 600.
When me and Jeff had Derek Murray on our show, he's an Oklahoma City guy, a draft guy, but he also used to work in Oklahoma City, and he mentioned Paolo and OKC and how much OKC would like Paolo too. And he said two things. He's mentioned linked to OKC and Paolo, and then he said there's no way Chet gets by the Rockets. He's like, I know how the Rockets think. There's no way he gets by them.
I kind of might parlay that because those are like definitely run it back to the NFL for a second, where there's a lot of like cover plus under, kind of symmetry, where if this team covers, it's going to be a low scoring game. I feel like, well, if Machado goes second, Chet has to go 3. If you could parlay those, that's pretty nice, man. A plus 500 right now and a plus 525 even.
I don't know about on others. You can't parlay that on DraftKings. On DraftKings.
You can't do anything on DraftKings. Yeah. That's definitely going to have to be a FanDuel type deal. But let's start where, conventionally, the NBA draft is actually going to begin. And that's at 4, right? We have the Knicks rumors. We've beat that conversation into the ground. You just
over on Knicks Jets TV or Knicks Jets, etc. You guys should go, subscribe, give it a like, let us know what you think.
And Knicks Film School, man, Chris has been screaming about Ivy, whether one way or the other. He's been screaming about him, mostly because people talk about IQ when he gets triggered. But that's neither here nor there.
You know what? The reason let me get a sentence off. Let me get a sentence off. The reason, no, one sentence. The reason for that is because the willingness to include a young player that we under covet in a deal that he would not need to be included in is so annoying. Like, people are like, yeah, well, you have to give up quickly for Ivy. And I'm like, they literally would rather have Obi. Like, I can tell you right now, like, I'm like, this is sourced. They would rather have Obi. And people are like, well, if they want IQ, you have to trade him. I'm like, shut up. Shut up. There's no other fan base in the league. I blew by the 1 sentence limit. There's no other fan base in the league that is so eager to talk shit and talk down on their own young players. Knicks fans are the fan base that gets shat on most. So what do they do to counter that? They shit on themselves more. What are you doing? Like, why? Why? It pisses me off so much.
Welcome.
But self-deprecating humor is really funny. This isn't humor. This is straight up just like, Quickly's a career 6th man. Why do you think so? Well, Tibbs would have played him if he was good, and Tibbs wants to win. Fuck you. Like, I don't know what else to say about that. Like, goddamn.
So much. I agree with him 100%. I
love it. He also
I don't agree with him. I think we should trade Quickly for Ivy.
Die.
He posted that Family Guy clip, which is an all-timer, where it's like, would you want to have this boat or do you want to have this box? And there might be a boat inside.
Someone tweeted at me the other day. They're like, Ayo Dosunmu just went late first round. Why would we not trade Quickly when we can just make picks like that? I was like, Ayo, he's a pick like that. He's a pump and dump scheme. He's an NFT pump and dump scheme. Nobody actually thinks that kid is good. Everyone just says he's good because everyone else says he's good. No one actually thinks that guy is good. Only people that think he's good are Chicago fans. I swear to God, there's no one else that actually watches that kid play and are like, wow, I'm really moved by his potential. No, you're not. Like, Zach Lowe told you to say that. Like, I don't know, man. Jesus Christ.
All right, we found the trigger point.
Did you not know that was the trigger point?
It's always
no. I like it.
I knew it was.
Yeah. It used to be RJ, but he shut enough people up this year that now I don't have to tell my own boss that's saying that if he's as good as Karis LeVert, we're blessed is some loser shit to say.
Does he deserve the max? Does he deserve the max extension? I'm just kidding.
Next off season he will. Right now, I'm okay if they tell him to earn it next year.
All right, so Ivy at 4 is insane, right? At minus 145, or is that free money?
I don't get why it's actually I do get why it's minus 145, and it's because the books are terrified that
But even if there's no trade, say there's no trade.
That's what I'm saying, though. They're terrified that Keegan's going to go 4. They're terrified that Sacramento is going to shit themselves, screw this all up because they bled their hand and only worked out Sohan out of the top prospects. Like, they didn't even bother pretending to work out Keegan. Like, it was just like, hey, we are really clearly trying to draft between 7 and 11. Like, I think they're terrified that the way Obi was magically there at 8 and was the favorite to be a Knick the whole time, I think they're scared that Ivy makes it to 5 because Sacramento holds out for Obi and the Knicks have Burks, Grimes, and firsts on the table, 11 and other firsts on the table. Sacramento's like, well, we're not doing this unless you give us Obi. And New York's like, okay, go take Ivy then. And they're like, shit, we just traded Hallie. Panic, Keegan. And then Detroit's on the clock. And we're like, hey, you like Cam Reddish, like that. I think the books are scared of that because those are real talks that are like the Knicks are actively talking to both Sacramento and Detroit in preparation for anything.
It's so interesting because
Cam Reddish for the 5th pick. I love Cam, but
Cam, Fournier, several firsts, including 11. Like, it's not just like Cam for 5. It's like all the firsts.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's so. I'm happy that you brought this up, but I'm also upset a little bit because my favorite actual pick of this draft was Keegan Murray over 5.5 at plus 185, and that's because I thought
Detroit would take him if Ivy's gone, and they're going to trade. So? They're going to trade Grant to Portland. Yeah, there's too much. The way the NBA is right now, I know I'm rambling, sorry, but the way things are, like, you guys know, like, free agency just like doesn't exist anymore. Like
there's tampering before the tampering.
There's gonna be. Oh, you don't even know. Well, we'll talk. We'll talk when the recording ends about what the Knicks just did yesterday. Man. It's so like the tampering is bad, but basically no, like it's all just up in the air. It's like it's all there's a million paths for everything. I think Ivy going 4 is most likely, which is why it's favorited. But if it were like 180, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. If Ivy to go 4 was like minus 225, I'd be like, oh, they know something. It's not actually that much of a given that he's going 4. Only because for all the people that shat on Knicks going all in on CAA, I have to say the only reason that Ivy's not locked in to go for is the CAA right now. So, yeah.
All right. We keep bringing up the Knicks. Let's just talk about, and I'll start with Chip here because Chip was first on this. He did the googly eyes on Twitter right away when it first came out. He's like, why is AJ Griffin the favorite to go to the Knicks at 11 right now? And at the moment, it's under 11.5 at minus 105, right? I don't know if you have specific Knicks picks at 11. Okay.
Steal minus 105 under 11 and AJ's floor, man. If you know what? If the Knicks don't trade up, he might slide and OKC might be the team to get him at 12, but if they do stay at 11, it's AJ if he's there. And I can see.
Yeah. I think so. He's over 10.5 is minus 285 for AJ Griffin on DraftKings. Are you looking at it?
I have bet on lineup because I'm a peasant from New York, and apparently the draft is not a game. It's a lottery. Like, I don't understand. Of course it's gambling, but whatever. Yeah. Doesn't make any sense.
Chris, are you looking at DraftKings? I assume. Griffin is minus.
I'll get on there now.
Yeah. Griffin's minus 285 for his draft position to be over 10.5, which means basically for him to last until the Knicks pick.
Well, I'll say that on that Knicks first pick thing, Griffin should still be the favorite, like right now, if the odds were still up. I think Ivy being the favorite is a result of Knick fans getting excited and hammering it.
I was just going to say the same thing. Yeah.
I think the line moved for a reason. Like if it went from plus 800 to plus 550, I would have been like, they're hearing what I'm hearing. But it went from plus 800 to plus 350.
Yeah.
A lot of Knicks fans spent a lot of money on
Ivy. Think about it. If they're sure that this is going to happen, he wouldn't have been plus 800 in the first place. And once the second they found out, he would have flown to like probably minus odds or something like plus 150, plus 200 to be the Knicks first pick, right? Because they don't know how the rest of the draft is going to play out. If they knew something, it would be, they really, really knew something, it would be plus 150, plus 175, plus 200. If they heard something, though, I can see them bringing it down to plus 600, and I can see the rest of the volume of the bets bringing it down to 350. So
and the volume of the bets kept coming in because they had to take it down too, completely off the first team site, off the page on DraftKings.
So you guys like the under 11.5 AJ Griffin at minus 105, basically even money. You get a slight discount on the VIG.
If you bet Ivy to be the Knicks' first pick at plus 800, I love that bet as a hedge on that.
Okay.
But straight up betting against the Knicks to trade up and being the team to take him 11.
Okay. So you're saying if it's not the Knicks at 11, it's going to be over.
I think he might go 12. Like, I just think that world exists. Duren goes to the Spurs at 9 and AJ's there at 12. And the Thunder are like, okay, well, we're not going to get our center project this year. Let's just go the highest upside guy on the board. And you
think Duren goes 9?
I think there's a world where that happens and we might be living in it. Like that's a real thing.
So that's under 10.5 is minus 105, which is the same odds as Griffin.
Oh, I like Duren. Yeah, I like Duren to go top 10. Okay. I might hypothetically have that actually if I check.
Okay. In a hypothetical world.
I already got that. He's was plus 100 to go top 10 yesterday, and I got it yesterday.
That's great.
He's minus 120 now. I would still do it.
I'm looking at points, but I got it under 10.5 is plus 125. So that's a pretty good line right there. One question I had for you guys. So I liked AJ Griffin. I think that was a name that I was going to throw out there as one of my favorite bets. But right around that range, all the odds, at least on points bet, are like plus 100, minus 100, goes up to minus 140 for some of the high ones. And then I'm going to butcher the name, so help me out with it. Dieng is all of a sudden minus 375 at under 12.5. So what am I missing with everything being around like plus or minus 110 and 140, and then all of a sudden guaranteed bet under 12.5?
It's a bit of it's almost like the over 10.5 for Griffin was like minus 250, and the under 11.5 was minus, because I have Dieng at under 11 at minus 140.
So a rumbling came out today that New Orleans is looking at him at 8, like psychopaths. And I think that's
everyone, right? There's like
that's why that changed. Well, here's the thing with New Orleans. They've been a quiet trade down spot this whole time. Everyone's talking about Sacramento. Everyone's talking about Portland.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8 pick has been the same amount of a trade down spot this entire time. I've been getting told by different league, like sources around the league. And Griffin's dealing on the phones. Like he's working on. I think maybe this intel of Dieng to Pelicans might be only half of a story getting out. People being like, hey, the Pelicans are interested in Ousmane Dieng if they trade down like some people expect them to. And the reporters were like, Pelicans, Ousmane Dieng? Oh, top 8 pick. I'm not sure, but I think the interest from them is real. And I think if he doesn't go there, OKC at 12 also isn't a crazy spot to project him. I just think if he doesn't go 8, doesn't go 9 to San Antonio, doesn't go 12 to OKC, he doesn't get taken until like 17 or 18. I don't know if Charlotte would bite. So we'll see.
Over 11 plus 100.
Yeah, for me, it's 12.5 minus 375. The over plus 260. That's the only other one for the over-unders in like the top 15 or so that I was looking at. That kind of interests me besides Mark Williams. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on him. That's another player I saw when Duke was cooking sometimes. I was like, okay, like big man can fit a scheme if someone needs him. John, you talked a little bit about, the center position. Kind of, you guys comped it to like the running back position in the NFL. I kind of like that.
That's evil. That's evil.
Yeah, I kind of felt that when you guys were talking about it. So does he have a shot at going top 15 here, or is no one really looking at him because maybe the center position isn't as a premium as it once was?
What pick is the Hornets pick? That everyone
13 and 15. So 15 he would go, but if they trade one of those picks with Hayward and then just stick at 13 and like take Oche or something like idiots, then you're screwed.
And they could also take someone else at 13 and then take him with 15, and then his over under is 13.5.
Yeah,
so right. They could end up still taking him at 15, and you could end up taking him. You could end up losing because the over, or at least on DraftKings, the over is -210, and the under is plus 170. Yeah. So you're taking a risk with that because I mean I don't think anyone else other than the Hornets. I haven't really seen anyone else other than the Hornets like really going crazy trying to like. No one's going to trade up to get him, obviously, but I think he's like his top 10 odds were it was like plus 450 or something, but I don't think he's going to be picked ahead of Duren, whatever.
Okay. All right. So let's throw out a couple of real quick little rapid fire over under with players that were mentioned on Knicks, Jets, etc. Have been mentioned through draft class and that Kris has honestly been yelling about for days. So we'll start with Dyson Daniels. His over is 7.5 and plus 125. I see it. Under is -165. Let's just go down the row. What do you got here, Kris?
He's not going top. Well, hold on. Who has 6?
Top 7.
Indy has 6. Oh. Indy. I don't think they would go with him at 6. So I don't think Dyson goes top 6. I don't think he goes top 7. I think 8, New Orleans is the first spot he comes into consideration.
That's that's plus 125 there. Greg or Chip, you have any thoughts there?
Nothing.
All right.
No, right. I'm not going at that. I'm not doing that one.
I don't like Dyson to go high, man. Teams, when you're contact averse at the rim, I know he just had a growth spurt. I know he's playing against grown men. When you are like 3 to 4 inches taller than average for your position and you're contact averse in your game, I don't think you want to compete that bad. It's just, I know that's biased. I know that's harsh. As someone who coaches right now, like middle school grade, middle school age players, like I would talk about this a lot. Getting to the rim is really important, yada, yada. I just think Dyson, like I've been saying it's the wrong ball brother he keeps getting compared to. Everyone keeps saying, oh, it's LaMelo, it's Giddey, and now it's Dyson. These 6'8", 6'9" point guards coming out of New Zealand and Australia, and they're going to take the league by storm. And I think Dyson's way more Lonzo, way more of a connector. I think he's a do-it-all wing with playmaking upside, with creation upside. I don't think he walks in as your point guard the way a lot of Knicks fans are like, Dyson would solve our point guard issues at 11. Emmanuel quickly legitimately has a better chance of solving your point guard issues than Dyson Daniels.
Why are Knicks fans so I don't want
quickly and Dyson together, that wingspan is terrifying. I think that would be really good. But a lot of Knicks fans would say they can't share the court because there's only one ball. And I'm like, what Dyson Daniels games are you watching? Like what really, I'm not comfortable projecting him.
Thing. I'm not even triggering you. I think that's more of like is like you like a true point guard type deal.
No, but people saying, oh, well, if he's going to be the point guard, then you can't have Daniels out there also being the point guard. Daniels isn't a point guard. How about that? Like, I don't think Ivy's a point guard. Is that an insult? No, I think he's a 2. I think he's an off-ball guard. I didn't think Suggs was a point guard last year. Was that an insult? No, I had him top 4 on my board. It's not an insult. It's just the kind of player you are. If we're going to talk about guys and describe them, you can't be like, oh, well, this guy does this and this. Someone else is like, what? You don't project him to get better at finishing through contact, shooting, pass. It's like, okay, well, I've got a CVS receipt at this point of stuff he needs to get better at, like to be what you're telling me he's going to be. That's why I refer to him as a do-it-all wing with creation upside. I do not see him as a playmaking wing. Last guy I made that mistake with, started the draft cycle, was telling people, Denny Avdia, I've got him top 5 on my board. I had him. I was working for SI that summer.
Justice Winslow, man. That was my Justice Winslow.
And I was pushing him.
I love Justice.
Me too. I was pushing Denny top 5. And then I actually dove into full games. Spencer Perlman was kind enough to send me several full games. This is when I really discovered how important full games were. And I watched several full games. I was like, oh, this guy can't do stuff. He just is good at things. He can't actually do them. He's just good at them. He can't apply it. And then I took him out of my top 10. I went from pushing him top 5 to saying he wasn't a top 10 guy, but he would still be good. And everyone was like, what's wrong with you? He's the number 4 prospect in this draft. Like, anyone heard his name in the last 2 years, like at all?
Nope.
I think they're trying to trade up, and I think he's the guy they're trying to trade. Like
if I were them, I would rather keep Denny than Kispert, but I would keep Rui over both. So I get trying to move Denny because he's probably who has value, if any, if much. So yeah, to bring that back around with Dyson, I like him. I just don't love him.
He's been mocked. He's been mocked all over the place too. You can't bet on his position.
You can bet, Chip. You in fact can bet over 7.5.
Over 7.5. Over 7.5 at plus odds should not be a thing. I like that.
Oh yeah, that's true. Over 7.5. But again, he's been. What if some team does something stupid? What if the Blazers like him or something? I don't know.
I think the Blazers are going to trade. But so let me just throw out just a couple more. We got Jalen Williams under 16 at minus 150. That's Chris's boy. What do we think about Jalen right there?
Chip?
I already took a Jalen.
Yeah.
I already took a Jalen.
I know where Chip stands here. He loves him. So
I love Jalen. I love Jalen though.
I would take right?
I would take Jalen under. I would.
So you said the line was 16?
Yeah, under 16 at minus 150.
Okay, so
where are you looking at that?
In a hypothetical world where I'm, like fake stocks, so I gamble with fake money.
Sure.
And in a hypothetical world, like in my simulator, I put $10 on Jalen Williams under 18.5 on June 20th, 2 days ago. His line was 18.5. Under 18.5 was minus 145. I did not care. And I put a 1 unit play on it. I really like that. Reason why? Who has pick? Atlanta has 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
The line was under 18.5. Atlanta has 16, and there's a rumor that they promised him there. So why would the line be like, why? Right now it's 16. Now we've got a conversation to have. Do I think there's a team in the lottery that would take him? Yes. Do I wish it was the Knicks? Yes. Is it them? No. Cleveland at 14.
Yes.
Cleveland at 14.
Yes, that's a good
They
spot.
traded for Kris LeVert. They were fielding offers for Indiana was Knicks sent in an offer for him, but it wasn't fantastic.
I like that under.
LeVert, man, maybe there's a succession plan here. Maybe they don't see Kris LeVert as having a long-term future in Cleveland.
They're taking Malaki.
They know of a wing. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Malaki.
Okay. So Malaki under 14.5 is plus 135.
Already took it.
I like that. Plus odds. Plus, you're basically betting on Cleveland to take him. It's not going to be Charlotte. They just took Book Knight. It's not going to be Oklahoma City because I think they're going to go whatever highest upside. Maybe Malaki is their guy. I doubt it. I would see them finding a way. I've heard they wanted to trade up from 12. Look at Sharp. So
Malaki under 14.5 is plus 140 on DraftKings. I like that one.
Sharp over 8 is plus 115. You just mentioned Sharp. You think he's going to go in the top 8?
Sharp over 8 what?
Over 8 is plus money, plus 115.
He might fall to San Antonio, and I don't know if they'd be interested.
Oh, that's too close. Okay. All right. How about this? This one kind of threw me off guard. Eason at under 17.5 is minus 140. Is that easy money?
17? No, it's not
17.
easy.
Really?
But I do think the workout stuff is getting overblown. I do think I put out on my lottery board, he's having bad workouts according to everyone. I heard Minnesota was by far his worst, and that was a team I thought would take him at 19. Now I could see them going with someone like EJ Liddell over him, who I love EJ, by the way. But the thing with Tari is that he, like the Rockets pick 18, right?
Yeah.
That's got to be his floor, I think.
Okay.
I think that's the latest he goes. I think if he's on the clock at 18, he goes. But I can't imagine any of the teams top. I can't say, like, if AJ's on the clock at 11, the Knicks are going with him over Tari. The Hornets don't think they take Tari. And then Atlanta, no. Chicago, I think trades that pick. We'll see. But Rudy Gobert definitely may be a Bull. So we'll look into that.
That's what I've been actually saying that. Is that a real rumor?
Yeah.
Oh man, okay. I've been screaming that people look at me like I have 11 heads. I think that's a perfect fit. I also think Vooch in Utah is amazing.
Well, Vooch and Pat Will is the offer that Chicago.
My boy Pat Will, yo.
Chicago
like, literally on the pod
didn't want to
yesterday.
do that. Chicago didn't want to do that. But I could see them getting weird and not including Pat Will, including the first rounder. Utah uses it on Agbaji if he's there, and just like is like, hey Donovan, we're getting you win now help. You know.
I know this is a little off the rails, but if I'm the Knicks, I am calling the Bulls nonstop asking about Pat Williams. But that's just me. Let's stick to the draft. You mentioned Liddell. You got Liddell, and we were kind of talking about this off air. First to be drafted, Liddell minus 175 over Jovic. Do you like that?
In my simulator, I have 2 units on plus 110 Liddell over Jovic. It was plus 120. I put 1 unit, went to plus 100. I put another unit. So average those plus 110, 2-unit play. And then it flew to a favorite by a lot. Man, I think I'm not in like by rule. I'm not a fan of any bet that has shorter
almost
odds than minus 150. No, like minus 150 I'll do. I get 15 to profit 10. I get 150 to profit 100. Anything like even minus 160, okay. It's just $1, whatever. Minus 175 or higher is just like, what am I doing here? This is like I'm chasing money. I'm not chasing valuable bets, right? So I'm gonna say I would pass on that. But I can't tell you why. It's just a value. Like there's no basketball reason as to why. I don't see a world in which Jovic goes early at all. Like he did not have a good combine. His interviews did not. I'll say one of his interviews didn't happen at all because someone was getting some Z's. So
tough.
Yeah,
tough.
I do not think his pre-draft process has gone very well. And
all right, well,
I love Liddell. So maybe this is 2 biases colliding for me, but I still like that value. I just wouldn't advise a big play on it.
But here's the thing, like Johnny Davis over AJ Griffin, the same exact odds. And I think Johnny Davis is definitely going to get picked in front of AJ Griffin. And I like it. I like it. A winning money is a winning bet, right, Greg? Like, yeah. If it's a winning money line bet, just take the damn money line and shut up, right? I feel like everyone yells at me to do that.
No, I kind of agree with Chris on that. Like, if the odds are, nothing's a guaranteed thing when it comes to betting, right? That's the beauty of it. So I'm not laying big juice on stuff, especially with draft stuff. You never know where these teams are going. So, yeah, I'm not really too big on if it's minus 200 or something like that. I stay away from it.
All right. Last fun ones here. We got Wendell Moore, your boy, over 27 at plus 110. You taking it or no?
Over 27?
Yeah.
At plus 110?
Yeah, or under 27 is minus 150. We're talking about the minus 150 here. Seems
value wise, give me 0.25 units on the plus side of that on him
in your simulator.
In the simulator.
I don't want to take the over because I don't want to be rooting for him to get drafted lower. So
that's fair.
I don't want to be rooting for him to fall.
That's fair.
But yeah, that is better value. As far as betting advice goes, yeah, I wouldn't bet on him to go earlier. Although I have seen his odds to go earlier go down. Like I think he must have done well at the combine or something. But I wouldn't bet on him to fall in the draft. I also think he's going to be a good player. But
all right.
Can we talk about the actual 1 sentence quick simulator snipe? Jalen Williams before Marjan Beauchamp was minus 130. I got 2 units on that.
Let's go. That's a nice one.
I got that's the one we talked about before.
Yep. It's completely off the board now, Chip.
It's off the board now.
I like that.
That moved dramatically. Yeah. This was
John, did we talk
this
about
before Williams blew up? Yeah. And then
did we talk about if the Knicks stay at 11, who's going there? Did we give out those picks? Did we talk about that?
Jeremy Grant just got traded live on the show. Grant just got traded live on the show.
To where?
My goodness, where did he
2025 first round pick via Milwaukee from Portland. Detroit swaps 2022 second round picks, getting 36 for 46 with Portland. Denver gets a 2025 second round pick back from Portland. Okay. Portland. So basically they had to unfuck some protections, but yeah. Jeremy Grant is a Blazer and it didn't cost the 7th pick.
Okay. I was waiting
they
for
didn't
something.
have to give up the 7th pick.
No, 7 belongs.
Where'd the money go? Where'd the money go? Oh, Portland absorbed it?
I think Portland's going to. No, it's not the new league year. Portland's going to send them shitter deals, I think. We'll see.
Yeah, they have to be some players in there, right?
Wow.
I wonder, you think there's going to be a sign trade for Simons?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Like,
no, I
think he's like the one untouchable guy on the roster.
I just saw a tweet.
Besides Dame, obviously.
No, he's restricted. They're gonna.
Yeah.
I just saw a tweet the other day. It was, who would you rather have for the next 5 years, Tyrese Halliburton or Ant Simons? And I made my vote. You guys know who I voted for, but
yeah, I have a pretty good idea.
I think Simons. I think
well, the only thing he is more than pro IQ is anti Halliburton. So
respect that.
That's true.
Respect me not liking the guy that has pee running down his legs every time he's playing in the clutch.
Oh my God.
That just sounds like the whole Knicks team. All right.
You will respect RJ Barrett hitting a game winner over John Morant and Jason Tatum.
Yes.
What does that have to do with Tyrese
and Fournier,
Halliburton?
I guess. So we respect Fournier for hitting one shot in game 1.
I stand with Fournier.
Hey. There will if there's any Evan Fournier slander on this podcast, I'll walk right out.
All right.
I stand with Chip on that.
This is my last question, and this is me just rooting for fun. This is like me taking the over in the Pro Bowl because I have to look at the score. I'm taking over 6.5 trades at -120. Even dumb trades happen. Just trades in general. I want trades during the first round. This one doesn't count, unfortunately.
Right?
But,
yeah. No pick.
Yeah. But hopefully that line goes down to 5.5 before I take it. But I'm taking that. Anyone have anything else to add before we wrap up this fantastic draft show where I feel like we touched virtually every single person, even rumored to go in the first round?
Yes. If it comes back up on the board, the Knicks' first draft pick,
yes,
I have a plan of action.
Tell us.
1 unit, Jaden Ivey. 1 unit, AJ Griffin. 0.25 Marjan Beauchamp. In my simulator right now, I have a $3 free bet that there was a fake promo and I used it.
Sure.
And I have a $3 free bet to profit 105 on Marjan Beauchamp to be the Knicks' first pick. If you want to talk about Doctor Strange, one reality, not Ivy. This is what if they can't get Ivy, if Griffin goes top 10 and Davis goes top 10. So say Griffin goes 8 to New Orleans or 7 or whatever. Johnny goes to Washington. The Knicks are on the clock at 11. Everyone they like is gone. They think they can trade back for Jalen Williams or Marjan Beauchamp. I also have $3 on Williams to profit 75. In the
simulator.
That's the one reality is they say, you know what? Screw this. We're punting this pick. We're trading back. We're taking the pick we get, trading that away for future picks. and we're just, they're going to pick at 17, whatever team, Houston has 17 and 26. Maybe they trade 11 for 17, 26, and a future first, and then take 17, draft Beauchamp, and get to 26 and trade that for a future first, the way they did with the eventual Cam pick.
Yeah.
There's a Doctor Strange one reality where a $3 bet on Marjan Beauchamp to be the Knicks' first pick nets you $105. And that's me.
You should parlay that with the Knicks under for the season wins.
hey, not a bad idea.
Honestly.
John, last thing I had is Johnny Davis definitely going to Washington.
That's Bradley Beal's guy. Think about it.
Is Bradley Beal staying in Washington?
He's been running around like he's Pac the last couple of days, talking about I know where I'm going, but I'm not gonna tell you. Shut up, dude. I respect you like the wealth and you like being the president of Washington D.C. and you like being a GM of your own team.
Don't even like him. Wizards fans are.
He's at every Mystics game. He's really involved in the community. He's involved in the community. He's the pres of DC, and he likes that. He's gonna stay. He's gonna have them draft the guy who allows him to do nothing on defense. Johnny, highest usage in college, and was going try hard on defense every play, and at 6'5" led his conference in rebounds. Bradley Beal can play with that guy, and not have if he doesn't have that offensive usage. He has all the energy in the world to cover him on defense. And I think Brad knows that and has been prodding the front office for him.
All right, plus 225. That's my last bet of the day. Throwing it in there.
Johnny Davis to the Wizards?
Yeah. 9th pick, right? To the 9th pick. Are they 10?
They're 10.
They're 10.
I'm already exhausted by this draft, 225. Man. I'm exhausted by the trades. I feel like yesterday I was being called absolutely insane on the Knicks pod, and everything I said happened this morning. Like Kyrie's going to the Lakers. I was insane for that. Like everything's just crazy, dude. I'm worried IQ's gonna go and Kris is gonna have a meltdown. Like I just don't know what's gonna happen.
He's staying. You see his Instagram story today? You know who's basketball
Mitchell,
camp?
Right?
Yeah. You think they're trading that kid?
I don't know. You can say the same thing if you're a Utah fan.
We have Wilson Fisk as our president of basketball operations. We have Kingpin, Tony Soprano as our president of basketball operations. You think they're trading the guy who Donovan Mitchell has decided he likes hanging out with?
Let me be honest with you, man. I think that every single rumor that has come out about the Knicks, besides that they tried this and it did not work, I think is completely made up. And I think that the only reason that the Knicks trades that failed or the Knicks are talking with this team even comes out is because Leon Rose, like you mentioned, I think he's negotiating through the media. I really think we learned this. Joe Douglas and Leon Rose, they both move the same exact way. The only time the media knows is when they're negotiating through. Like the only
without hair.
They're the same person. Like the only reason we found out about Tyreek Hill was because of it was over and we were like we're negotiating for Deebo Samuel without calling San Francisco. And I feel like that's the same thing that's happening here. The only reason that this is all coming out is to let everybody know what we're offering. You know what I mean? We're not trading this guy. We're not doing this. We're willing to trade Burks and Noel. That just came out. Like, I feel like, the 2023 Dallas pick. That's
something else. I just want to make note of the fact that before the playoffs, we were talking about Brunson at 18 a year, maybe 20. During the playoffs, we were like, oh, this might cost 22 to 25 a year. Article comes out the other day. Knicks are preparing $25 million in cap space for Brunson. What article comes out that same day, 6 hours later? The Dallas Mavericks are thinking they might have to offer Brunson $25 million a year. I wonder where that number came from. Now, today, Woj in his paywall article drops that the Mavs have decided internally that they realize they might have to drop a near max on Brunson to extend him. Who's driving this price up on Jalen Brunson? His literal godfather. His godfather runs a basketball team and works for the agency that he's signed to. What are we doing here? Malcolm Brogdon. Oh, the Knicks really want to give 11 for Brogdon. Berman going on all these shows. Oh, the Knicks want to give 11 for Brogdon. Jeremy Wood today. Knicks have no interest in trading 11 for Brogdon. I wonder why we spent all this time drumming up this market. Which agency if you guys just had to take a shot in the dark, do you think Malcolm Brogdon is signed to?
Clutch Sports.
Yeah, Clutch, right? It's like, it's so the blueprint is sitting in front of your face. And people are like, the blueprint to build a yacht is in front of people's faces. And they're like, ooh, look, I can fold this into a paper airplane. Like, what are you doing? Get a grip. Like, look at what's happening in front of you. It's so obvious, the game we're playing.
Let me ask you a question, man. Speaking of this whole thing, we're off the rails now. And it's just a Knicks question here. Do you think that Randall finally ends up in Sacramento for that pick? Because Obi, he's
absolutely not.
Oh,
every single offer I've heard, from what the Knicks offered and got rejected to what the offer they responded with, which is still currently on the table, is No mention of Randall. The Kings tried for Randall at last year's deadline.
Yeah.
They offered a shit steak of a platter. The Knicks turned it down. They went and traded for Sabonis and gave up Hallie like they didn't really want to. No way are they going to now be like, oh, well, actually, what if we just did get both? Like, okay, I know the Kings are stupid. They're not that stupid. They want Obi. They want Collins or Obi. It's not like that's not a coincidence. Those are two similar kinds of players. They clearly have something in mind.
Dude, are you gonna tell me they're not dumb and they're about to give up the 4th pick and acquire John Collins? And then that's the same breath.
I don't think they deal. They're not going to deal with Atlanta. They're not going to. I don't
trade of all time.
Have you ever seen someone trade from 4 to 16 just for a player? That's not like
the worst player, the worst contract. What are we talking about?
It's not happening. It's what it sounds like. It's not happening.
All right. So, what do you think the Knicks are going to do? Are they going to trade up or no?
You're killing me, man. I think
this is the last question. We literally went all the way around.
They're going after it. You know, people with fake sources were coming on the app. Oh, they're going to do anything at all costs to get LaMelo Ball. Now we got people running around, you know, saying different. This is someone they're actually really after. Like the offer I've heard is on the table now. From what the second this ends, we can talk about it. But from what I've heard is on the table now, man, like it's not crazy. It's just wow. Leon Rose is offering that much for an unknown. Like, you know, they think he's a known. They know what he is. They think they know what he is, and what he is a guard with star potential who could come to New York. And if teammates with guys like Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, who's a rim runner that the Knicks are reportedly going to extend, he could elevate their talent. It's really simple. They're after this kid. Mark Berman came on Draft Class, my show, and called him the apple of their eye these last couple months. Like, that's a real thing. They really want Ivy. They have backup plans. That's not like Berman trying to bury a lead. Like, no, like they actually really like this kid. However, much like anything, hatred, love, whatever, it's a two-way street, right? So obviously the team with the pick has to like call in a trade for it and deal it away. And I'm not going to lie, man, as we get closer to draft night, teams have been thinking the last couple months about the draft. The odds that a team with the number 4 pick is like, screw it, we're not drafting here. This is why I think they might just stick and take Keegan and screw the Pistons, because the Pistons just traded Jeremy. They're going to be like, oh, the Pistons want Keegan. Well, we're going to take him. And then the Pistons are like, well, there's no one we want now, so we'll trade down for Mathurin with New York. And
dude, I think the Pistons are going to get DeAndre Ayton. But
just tweeted while we were on this show once the trade broke that's why they cleared up cap space.
Let's go. We're on the same page here, man. We're on. DeAndre Ayton is going to be sick over there too, and I hope he can steal Isaiah Stewart. But that's neither here nor there. We are so.
He's not going to be sick without Chris Paul, but he's not going to be sick without Chris Paul. But whatever, we don't need to do that.
Chris Paul. Greg, you have any thoughts on Chris Paul?
Nope, none. I'm happy that Chip picked the winner in golf. I'll let him off with that one. Give him a week off with Chris Paul talk.
You gotta get out of jail free. You gotta get out of jail free for picking Matt Fitzpatrick.
Remember my infamous Chris Paul is old enough to be my dad line?
Oh God.
Can we revisit after the actual shit running down his legs against the Dallas Mavericks in Game 7 was visible to everyone on national television?
Almost everyone, Chris.
Besides 2 people,
Chip and Ryan Ursillo.
He didn't play well. I said that. He didn't play well.
Yo,
that's so good.
Chip, I'm going to give you the last word on the show. Who wins the Travelers?
I took I got a hold on. Let me bring up my parlay. First of all, round 1 leader, Rory is round 1 leader.
All right.
And I got a parlay, Rory top 10, Patrick Cantley top 20, and
your name for me.
Yeah, and Xander to win.
Okay.
And yeah. And I threw Malaki Branham's under 14.5 in there just to mess around.
He's playing the Travelers? No,
and maybe throw Jabari in if you want to throw him in there for the number 1 pick. And also look at Patrick Cantley to win too, because he's had a ton of success at the Travelers.
I don't know, man. You said okay, that's fair. If he had a lot of success with the Travelers, I'll take that. But whenever you say Rory, he does well. You hate Rory, so he's like it's like that kind of thing for me. So I'm gonna sprinkle on Rory.
I was looking at Jordan Spieth won this in 2017. And I actually looked at him and I was like, it's Jordan Spieth. I can't.
I will never. I don't even want to look at him.
Do it. I can't. But Rory, round 1 leader, I really like. And I like that parlay I had. I'm high on Rory for this one again. Yeah, just because he did technically play well. Yeah. And, the U.S. Open again. So I like Rory, round 1 leader. And Xander to win, I think, is a good one.
All right. And there you have it, guys. Throw in the simulator. You got the whole NBA draft. We sprinkled some golf. Greg, you have a last minute thought here? I don't leave you hanging. You have a last minute thought?
My last minute thought is dark, so I don't know if I want to share it. But I think the Knicks stay at 11. I think they want to trade up. I think the Knicks stay at 11. I think we draft AJ Griffith, and he just stinks.
Oh my!
He's hurt all the time.
Raisi, cut that.
Stinks.
That's episode over. Episode over. Get me the hell out of here.
I'm terrified.
Jesus Christ!
Why did I give you the last word? On that terrible note, I hope you stop listening after Chip's golf pick. Don't subscribe. Don't like. Don't follow.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Tell them never to bring me back on because me being on is what led to this being said.
Wow, we're having such a good episode. All right,
cancel the show.
Everything's canceled. Tune in next week. We'll see how bad we did or how good we did. We love you guys. Comment what you got. Thank you so much, Kris.
Yeah, let us know what you guys are taking in the comments.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Draft class.
Thank you, Chip.
Knicks
again.
Film School. Chip Murphy 7. Knicks Jets, etc. Peace.